All right, 3, 2, 1, we are recording. Hello and welcome to the Avanti Entrepreneur Podcast. I am Dave Mamano, your host, and we are here to help entrepreneurial achievers and leaders and impactors move forward. And that's what Avanti means, by the way, everybody. If you haven't learned that yet, you haven't been listening, Avanti means move forward. We're going to help you move forward with this podcast. The way I do that is I comb through tons and tons of people, and I find the cream of the crop, the best of the best, to help me. There he is right there. If you're watching this, he's pointing to himself, and he should. Alexander Keehnen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Dave.
So Alex is across the big pond there. He's in Amsterdam. I'm in Rochester. With the power of Zoom, we are looking at each other. We're talking to each other, and I love it. So Alexander, we were connected through Emily Carpenter, a local friend here in Rochester. I believe that met you at a conference, right?
Yeah, I met Emily at a conference in Orlando.
Great. What conference was that?
There was LaunchCon, and it was all about launching a business using online content.
Oh, very good. And you did that?
I did a couple of launches since then. Not all of them were as successful as I was hoping for. There were major learning experiences.
So in other words, you are an entrepreneur.
That's right.
Alex, well, you're a young guy, you're 34, and you've already had incredible experiences and incredible value to offer. Let us know a little bit about, where you've been, what were some of the experiences you had in your 20s, good, bad, and ugly, to help you get where you are today. And how are you helping entrepreneurs today with all the content and value that you're bringing to the table?
Yeah, let me think where I'll start. There's so much going on right now, and so much happened before. But what is good to know is that everything began in a tiny village in the Netherlands, where I grew up in a family of employees. So all I knew was the employee lifestyle, and I went to school and university was all fairly simple to me. I finished 2 masters in business school in Rotterdam. And I was 23 years old. My life was pretty linear up to that point. And I moved to Prague, Czech Republic, to spend a year abroad, because apparently that's good for you. It was an intuitive choice more than anything. And over there, something happened that changed the course of my life. I remember I was there for about 3 weeks, and a girl who was also living in Prague. She asked me a question. She said, "Alexander, I want to ask you something, because yesterday I spoke to my boyfriend. He is still living in Belgium while I'm here in Prague, Czech Republic. And he told me yesterday that he's reading a book on how to pick up girls. Should I be worried that he's going to cheat on me?" Now, I don't remember which advice I gave her. Probably not the best advice. I do remember thinking, I have to get my hands on that book. Why did nobody tell me that?
Right? That's all you were thinking. Yeah.
Why have I been messing around hoping for things to work out for like 7 years? And now I hear that there's actually somebody who figured it out and describes how it works. So I got the book. I started using the strategies, taking it into the field, trying it out. And of course, it wasn't as easy as I thought it would be.
Yeah. Like everything else.
Tons of embarrassing experiences.
Yeah.
But I knew I have a choice. I have a choice to either keep doing things the same way I always did them and keep getting the same results, or I get myself out there and I have those experiences and I do it, and I believe that eventually it will make me a better person, no matter the short-term painful moments. And so for me, there was only one choice. And so I went out there and I felt something happening inside of me. I became stronger. I became more confident. I became a lot calmer on the inside. And that reflected also in my work. In my work, I got promoted. I was working for Accenture at the time in a call center just for a year. After 3 months, I was team specialist. 3 months later, I got promoted to be the team leader of 12 people. And again, 4 months later, I got a bigger team, 18 people to manage. So I saw how all of that coincided with one one common thread was my personal development. So as of that moment, I realized that whatever I'm doing in the moment, it is my personal development that will always be my number one priority.
Yeah. So you transformed yourself. You transformed yourself from the inside out, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, step by step, it started with outside in strategies. When you're in a bar talking to a woman and she says this, then reply with this. Or when she does this thing, then you do that thing. But
Right.
it was a lot of rules to remember. Hundreds of little rules.
It's gotta be more natural, hopefully, right? So
Yeah, the one word that changed the whole perspective for me was when one of the other authors started speaking of the inner game, the stuff that goes on inside of you. And frankly, up until that point, I'd never even realized that there's such a thing as an inner world.
yeah. That's fantastic. So fast forward to today. How are you using all of these experiences to help entrepreneurs, business owners, et cetera?
Yeah, well, more than anything, I follow my own path. I believe that I am here in this beautiful body that has been designed by something or someone a million times more genius than me. So whatever I think I need to be doing, or whatever I think is good to create, is just a starting point of an experiment. I walk through life and I do my best in every situation. When somebody asks me for help, I come in and I give that help, applying everything I learned in the past. And yeah, that resulted to where I am right now. But my entrepreneurial journey started 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago, and actually the first steps happened 5 years ago. At that time, I was still working for a large bank. So I was an employee in corporate life, worked 4 years in Czech Republic. Then I moved to Brussels, Belgium, worked there at a big bank for 2.5 years. And I knew I'm going to get out of here. When the next step shows itself, I'm going to get out. Then a startup company called me from the Netherlands. They wanted to branch out to Belgium. They were looking for somebody to set it up over there. And here they are talking to this operations guy. I'm a manager. I manage hundreds of people. I understand systems, operational excellence, procedures. That's what I do. So it was the perfect springboard from corporate life to entrepreneurial life is to join this startup who has a proven concept, who sent me a salary every month. But I could open an office in Belgium, hire a team, set up the procedures. I signed 50 plus partner companies. And only in Belgium, we did over $1 million revenue in the first year.
Beautiful.
The CEO liked what I was doing. So he asked, can you do the same thing in the Netherlands? And while you're at it, can you open up a location in Düsseldorf and Barcelona as well? So I got promoted to be the COO eventually. I was running the entire company, sales and marketing, R&D, operations, customer service. And we grew from 20 to 95 people in less than 2 years' time.
Wow.
I moved together with my then wife from Belgium to the Netherlands to be close to the head office in Amsterdam. And in the week of moving, all the bags were packed, ready to go. I resigned.
Shocking, right? Were they shocked?
Well, the CEO was feeling sorry for me for not understanding what it means to be a true entrepreneur. I told him, you're driving this into the ground. If you launch this product now, I don't know how we're going to do it. So I'm getting off this truck. I advise you to just take a left turn and we're going to be just fine. Mm-hmm. So it was a difference in opinion, and I felt what to do. So we arrived over here in the Netherlands in a beautiful home, but nothing more. My wife left everything behind in Belgium, and I just said goodbye to the company that I gave everything for, blood, sweat, and tears for 2 years. Mm-hmm. That was the moment I realized it's time to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I've collected enough knowledge and experience. I've seen enough in the world to believe in myself that I can make it happen, whatever it exactly turns out to be.
Mm-hmm. And so today you're an entrepreneur, and you're using your experience, your gift and talents to help entrepreneurs through mastermind groups that you're creating, right? And a lot of them are online. Is that correct? So you can get people from all over the world?
Yeah, definitely. And the reason I started this is because I found there's a huge need. Because when I started as an entrepreneur, I started to do a lot of networking, going to events, meeting people, talking to other entrepreneurs. And what I found is that it was really difficult to establish true, meaningful connections. In many of these network events, people seem to be pretending to be bigger than they are, or pushing their products on you. It just felt inauthentic. And the way I do networking is, instead of speaking to a lot of people, having a lot of short conversations, then following up, playing the numbers game, I turned it completely around. When I'm in a networking setting, I slow down. I walk as slowly as possible. I raise my chest up. I open my heart. I take a deep breath. I walk around, and I see whose eyes I catch. And when it feels right, I go to have a chat. And usually after a few sentences, I know, is somebody home in there?
Mm-hmm.
Am I speaking to spirit or ego? Because when I speak to spirit, to the goodness inside of someone who wants nothing but the best for themselves and everyone else, just like I do, now I know that there's a wealth of opportunities.
Yeah.
So in such a setting, meeting someone like that, I will go in depth, speak half an hour, 1 hour, go out for coffee, 2 hours, and there's a friendship for life. So many of these friendships that I build, these are people I can discuss anything with, ranging from personal things to business decisions. And I started to hear the same thing over and over again in those discussions. They told me, Alex, I love our conversations. Every time we speak, I feel so much better. I feel more energy, more confidence. I can see things clearly. I believe in myself. I wish I had more people like this. I asked them, how many of these friendships do you have? Well, 2 or 3. And I found that special because I had a few dozen of them. And that's the moment I realized, what would it mean to them if I would fully open up my network and help everyone connect to everyone? When that clicked, that's when I knew I am here to build the WIN Mastermind. WIN stands for Worldwide Influencer Network. When I speak of influencers, I don't mean the self-obsessed Instagram selfie takers. I mean people of true positive influence who understand that life is not about their ego, it's not about status, it's about serving others. It's about being an instrument to the greater whole. These people who understand that they influence in every second of every day, and they want it to be positive influence. What if we connect these people so that you can find trusted partners, trusted friends, trusted experts who all see the same bigger picture by the snap of your fingers? Once I realized the value in that, and once I saw how to build that system, I knew this is the only thing I can be doing here in this world.
You found your calling. You found your God-given talent, and now you're maximizing it.
And I feel it in every fiber of my body.
Yeah. Well, when I met you, not in person, unfortunately, yet, but on Zoom, you have a very calming yet energetic presence, right? It's like it's very rare, right? You're very, very calm, cool person, but you're also very intense with some very positive, kind of authentic energy that I could feel like you truly want to help people, and so I think it's a special talent you have. So tell me more about your masterminds. So how often do they meet? Do they meet online once a month, et cetera? Tell me some about the details and logistics of your mastermind groups, if you don't mind.
Yeah, definitely. So the first question I ask myself is, how can we create as much value as possible within a limited amount of time? How can we be as flexible as possible while reaping the benefits of co-creation, connection? So that's where my manager comes in. One thing I learned as a manager is that human beings need and like to get crystal clear instructions.
Yes, clarity is
No.
everything.
You work with team members, with employees, you know.
Right.
You want to be very clear on what you request, and else you're going to get something else. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
So,
a friend of mine, and I've talked about him with you, a friend of mine, Cameron Harold, who been on my podcast and does a lot of coaching around the world with businesses. He uses an example of lack of clarity in organizations, right? So if you've never seen the movie The Sound of Music, you wouldn't know what that picnic scene looks like in the mountains, right? At the beginning of the movie, when all the kids are playing and she's up there in the mountains having a little picnic. So if you've never seen that movie, and you tell an employee, you say, "Hey, I'm going to plan a company outing, and I want it just like the picnic in The Sound of Music." And if that person's never seen The Sound of Music, you may get a completely different picnic scene, right? Like experience. And so that's why usually, an example of that is to say, get really crystal clear about the vision of what it looks like when there's success, so that everyone is rowing in the same direction towards that vision of what it's supposed to be, what it's supposed to look like, what is the end results, right? What is the value? Because there's so many times where the leaders think they're clear, and the employees, have no idea what he's talking about or what she's talking about, right? So, I agree. Clarity is so important, and oftentimes it leads to people quitting, right? I don't think people quit organizations. I think they quit people, right? Maybe they like the product, maybe they like the idea of the company, but they don't like the leaders, and the leaders got to look in the mirror and say, "I'm the problem. What can I do?" Right? You want to find the villain, and you finally find the villain, and oh my God, it's me. Oh my God, right? But that takes a strong leader to really take a deep breath and acknowledge the fact that it could be them, right?
Yeah, it is. And it takes a lot of empathy as well, because we human beings, we're special creatures. And there's this one paradox that creates 99% of the problems in the world is we tend to judge ourselves on our intentions while we judge others on their behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's powerful.
So the ability to step into the other person's shoes and reflect on your own behavior, that's true empathy. And that's the sign of a powerful leader.
Yeah. In your opinion, what makes up a great mastermind group? What are the pieces and strategies of a mastermind group that just make it a really wow and impactful experience?
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is, to answer this question, all I need to do is to go back in my mind to the mastermind group that I ran this afternoon. So what we do is we do the mastermind in a virtual call, 1 hour per week. Hour of power. It's in the calendar. Everybody knows. And for this particular group, Thursdays, 12 p.m., that's when I'm there. That's when I connect to the mastermind. That's where I reach my highest thoughts, my highest level of clarity. That's where I address the biggest challenge that's on my plate right now. And that's where I help others with the biggest challenge on their plate. So what are some of the building blocks? The first one is trust. There's a very high level of trust between the members. which is necessary because we speak about some of the biggest challenges in their lives, in their businesses. And these are things they may not tell to anyone else. So they want to be sure that it's treated confidentially. And probably even more than that, that they are understood. Now, understanding being the opposite of being judged. They're being understood. They're being encouraged. So that brings another valuable building block is positive thinking. I stand for pure positivity. Even in my words, I want to speak only positive words. So now I'm going to mention some negative words. I try to avoid words like no, never, not, or even dangerous, difficult. By focusing on the positive, that's where we see new opportunities. That's where we focus on what does work. And these are the only true building blocks to find additional things that also work. So in our mastermind group, we have a very clear code of conduct. We call them our 10+1 intentions. These intentions sound somewhat like the first one. We are a network of givers because we understand we are all one. We're all part of Team Human. We're all here together to make it work. And it works best when we all focus on giving first. One of the other ones is we choose to focus only on the positive for exactly the reason I just mentioned. So by having clear expectations like that, we have a shared mindset in the mastermind group that creates this level of trust where people dare to express themselves and they dare to share, to give.
I like that. Dare to share. Because you have to be vulnerable. You know, as we've talked about in the past, a lot of times, you know, we're talking about things in a mastermind group that we haven't talked about with anybody else, including our spouses, our best friends. And to get in that mastermind group with like-minded thinkers, you know, business owners, whatever, peers that have some understanding of what you're going through. And then, like you said, building that trust because of the confidentiality, right? Building that relationship. Very, very important. And then allowing yourself to take that deep breath and be vulnerable and talk about something that maybe you're humiliated about. You know, maybe it's something that is, you know, it's so tough to talk about, but you need to talk about it in order to fix the issue. And oftentimes once you let it out, you realize that it's not that bad. Like some guy or gal will say, "Oh my God, I went through that too. And here's how I went through the experience and here's how I handled it." And you're like, "Oh, all right, great. I'm not that much of a freak show after all. This happens to other people too, right?"
In my experience, people are much more understanding than you may think. And people appreciate vulnerability. Mm-hmm. Especially when you dare to be vulnerable first, you open the door to a true meaningful connection. Heart to heart, human to human. And with that level of depth, you can move so much faster and so much further than if you would play this game of just trying to please everyone. Yeah. Now, of course, these are only the basic building blocks. To really get results, you need razor sharp facilitation.
Yeah. And that's where you come in. That's where you come in.
Yeah.
Razor sharp.
That's what I learned as a manager. Yeah. I've led so many meetings, so I understand the dynamics of meetings, and I understand that when we entrepreneurs, who are all changing the world, I only work with positive, purpose-driven entrepreneurs, by the way. So everybody knows, everyone is in it to create a better world. Creates even more trust and willingness to help. Yeah. I know when we get together for an hour, and my promise is that this is the most valuable hour of the week, we're going to use that hour for maximum benefit. So it has been allocated minute by minute. Minute by minute, I make sure that we focus on exactly the right thing. First minute is about reiterating 10+1 intentions. So they're displayed in the side of the screen. I highlight one and I bring it back to the forefront of their minds. This is our culture. This is our mindset. And as we move to a little bit of reflection on the past week, we soon move to the main part of the call, which is the spotlight. The spotlight is where the magic happens. Some people call it a hot seat. I have one rule in life is no stress, and a hot seat sounds stressful. So we call it a spotlight. It's a bit friendlier.
I like it.
16 minutes.
How many people are in your mastermind group?
We have groups that are maximum 8 people, 6 to 8 people in a group. And this way there's enough engagement. So everybody gets to speak, everybody gets to actively participate. We have enough perspectives and it's not getting too crowded. So I found 6 to 8 is the ideal number.
Yeah. What will you not tolerate in a mastermind group?
Negativity.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever have a problem with people not showing up?
Depends how you define a problem.
So do they? Well, what happens? I guess because I know I was in EO for many years, and we had a thing called Forum, right, which is a monthly mastermind group. As you know, I have Avanti peer groups here, and I've known a lot of people that have been in mastermind groups. This one woman paid $25,000 to be in a mastermind group. They met 4 times, and she said that that only half the group showed up for the 3rd meeting. And all these people paid $25,000 for 4 meetings, right? So there is an inherent issue with commitment to mastermind groups. And maybe you've mastered that. Maybe you found a way to say, hey, like with Avanti, we have a rule that if you miss 2 meetings in a year without a really good excuse, right? Like pneumonia, death, like the group can vote to kick you out, right? To remove you from the group. So, which is harsh, but it doesn't work unless people show up. So how do you handle that? How do you handle, doing everything you possibly can to increase the probability that people will be in attendance every time? That's saying it in a better positive way, right?
Yeah. Well, the way I view life is there are 2 paradigms. There's power and there's force. There's attraction and there's assertion. So I want to be careful to force people to do things that I think are right. Mm-hmm. And instead, I focus on making the mastermind so attractive that they want to be there, that they're sucked into those calls.
Yeah.
And of course, I have several systems in place. We communicate via a group WhatsApp chats. So that way we keep engagement going on also in between the calls.
Yeah.
I make sure that chapter leads who are in charge of the local mastermind, that they have at least once a month a personal phone call with each member. Mm-hmm. So that people feel engaged. More than anything, I believe it's the mindset of our members that keeps them showing up time and time and time again. Because what we do is we speak openly about spirituality. We speak about the universe, about love, about cooperation, community, working together. And when I speak to my mastermind members and I ask them, how do you like the mastermind? How's it going for you? What surprises me is that more than half, they speak about how much fun it is to help others. They come to give. And I think that sense of duty to come and serve, to show up, not for yourself, for the others, I think that's the greatest attractor of all.
Beautiful. I love it. Hey, before we go, I try to keep this around a half an hour, Alex, and I could probably talk to you for a whole day, and maybe we'll continue the conversation, a part 2 podcast. But if people want to learn more about how you help entrepreneurs, about your international mastermind groups, right, online, et cetera, and I know you have a new Facebook group page too, right, where you're kind of launching some new products and ideas. tell us about all that, and how do people get in touch with you to learn more?
Yeah, for sure. The Facebook group is open to anyone. It is called Win Mastermind, WIN Mastermind. You can apply there, share why you want to join the group. And what we do in those groups is you can post your askings. Whatever you're asking for to get your business ahead, your life ahead, post it, because it's full with helpful people who help you move forward. Now, the website is in the making, is win-mastermind.com. By the time this podcast is out, I'm confident it's going to look good, or at least good enough.
Right.
And it's going to be possible there to subscribe to our newsletter. One of the first things I'll be offering there is the 3 power networking questions. These are, out of my hundreds, 1,000+ networking experience, I found that these 3 questions make the biggest difference in the success of a conversation and the start of a relationship. So I'm sharing those over there, and that way, when you sign up, you stay connected, you receive all the updates, you know where our events are, anything we have to share, that's the way to hear about it.
Excellent. Well, Alexander, thank you so much. Most of my guests are from the U.S., so it's good to have a great European accent and experience on our show, on the Avanti Entrepreneur podcast. Truly appreciate all that you're doing. You're doing some great work. Love your positivity, and I love that you're a calming force of nature, and wise, very wise for a 34-year-old. So when I was 34, I don't think I had 1/10 of your knowledge. So congratulations, and continue doing what you're doing. And I personally want to find out a little bit more about your mastermind groups, because I think it's good to have an international perspective. In America, we get caught up with everything American, right? And it's always good to have different insights from around the world. So very, very excited for what you're doing.
Yeah, good that you bring it up. One thing I'm putting in place is virtual trial sessions. So I have people from all over the world asking me about the mastermind. And of course, not everybody can come to Amsterdam to join a trial session. So I'm setting up virtual trial sessions just to experience it, get a free taste, see what it's like, and see how it helps your business. So I'm going to keep you posted on that as well.
Beautiful. Alexander, thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. We're going to learn more. Give us that website one more time. We'll put it in the show notes as well.
win-mastermind.com.
win-mastermind.com, and you can also find it on Facebook. Alexander, thank you so much. I wish you continued massive success, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. And Dave, keep up the awesome work.
I will. Hey, if you're watching this, you'll see my coffee mug here. My friend Tony King got me this, right? #awesome, right? So excellent. Well, thank you, Alex. And thank you, Avanti family. I always appreciate your time. I'm honored and blessed that you spend time with us. You can go to AvantiEntrepreneur.com. All of our interviews are there, show notes, etc. Information about our events and everything else, AvantiEntrepreneur.com. Make it a great day, everybody, and stay awesome.